Minister Tito Mboweni's budget, he announced the allocation of 1.8 billion rand for the implementation of 262 priority land reform projects over the next 3 years. He also made available 3.7 billion rand to assist emerging farmers seeking to acquire land to farm. However, analysts are concerned about the lack of long-term investment in infrastructure that supports agriculture, such as roads, ports and rail, that need serious upgrading. We are joined by Paul Makube, senior agricultural economist at FNB Agri-Business, and he's here to tell us about some of the ramifications on the impact on the budget allocation. Well, Paul, thank you very much for coming back once again to look at some of the implementation of budget allocations. But I just wanted to pick your brain on what you are asserting regarding a blended model by the Land Bank for the budget to have an impact on transformation in the agricultural center. What do you mean by that?
Well, thank you for having me. The blended finance model has to do with the involvement of the private sector in the financing of small and emerging farmers, and that will be handled by the Land Bank. So the Land Bank, part will be the Land Bank and other financial institutions. Hence the explanation that it is actually a blended finance model.
All right. So you are raising concern about the logistics sector not being upgraded well enough to be on par with the demand and the supply in as far as what the agriculture sector produces and how it reaches the markets.
Yes, I think agriculture has been an important sector for the economy in terms of a significant export revenue, and the movement of produce from from the farm to point of consumption, also to export markets, is very critical. We need an efficient rail system to ensure that you move some of the grain that is being transported by rail into the rail network to ensure speedy delivery to the ports, but also the ports infrastructure in terms of bottlenecks that are there to ensure that the fruit that is exported can easily move swiftly from the farm to the export market. Now, time is very critical in that situation.
Yeah. So then the budget allocation, in as far as vaccines are concerned, we've heard already alarming news concerning the outbreak of foot and mouth disease recently. And is there enough money for the supplies so that farmers can be able to access the supplies of medications?
Remember, at the moment, the issue, for example, of the foot and mouth disease, we're currently facing a ban in some of the countries. I mean, recently China has suspended wool exports from South Africa, which is about over 70% of what we send to them. So that is, biosecurity has become a critical issue. The allocation will make sure that the vaccines are developed, and also the laboratory infrastructure is up to scratch, and can meet with the challenges of disease outbreaks such as what we are having at the moment, so that we can easily provide comfort to our trading partners and ensure that we, when there is an outbreak, we can provide them comfort that if there is any exports that comes out of South Africa, they're comfortable to receive the exports without any contamination or threat of their own livestock or plants.
Right. So from where you're sitting, what is the rate of demand for land? Because the minister here has allocated money so that farmers, emerging farmers who want land, can be funded. And Julius Malema raised an issue here saying, we are discussing expropriation of land without compensation. Then why are we budgeting for farmers, emerging farmers, who will acquire land anyway after expropriation when it has been completed?
Remember, the process has not been completed, and in terms of how that process is going to be implemented, who qualifies, etc., those details have not been threshed out. And I think the principle there is that you want to ensure that there is no disruption to the economy, especially the agri economy. In the meantime, we need to get things going. We need to get farmers on the farms. We need to get new and emerging farmers working on the land without having to unduly wait for an outcome that can take a bit longer to implement.
Right. So just on a parting shot, how ready is the agricultural sector for the industrial revolution concerning technology, innovation, as well as artificial intelligence?
If you look at the agriculture, and if you are closer to the agriculture space, there's huge technological changes. There's rapid adoption of technology. There are use of drones in agriculture. We've seen it seen them already. There's data is quite a big thing in agriculture. So there's a lot of a variety of technology that is being implemented in the agri space that ensure that either we have precision agriculture or we improve the speed at which we process products, and also for the export market. So in terms of varieties that are being developed, etc., from either crops that are being developed at the moment, the cultivars that are being developed, all that is technology that actually revolutionized agriculture. If you look at South Africa, is a very water scarce country, but despite that, we are able to produce. We are now as a surplus producer and a surplus exporter.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you very much for having me.